When I was Secretary of the Air Force, we used to say we were a force of about 660,000 individuals. That's active duty, National Guard Reserve, and civilian. If you add in our families, the numbers are even larger.
Well, and that's an incredible responsibility, and you had ultimate responsibility for all of them. Obviously through very competent military command, the Air Force Chief of Staff, as well as through your Undersecretary. How is that actually structured between the two?
Well, the way I would describe it is if we were a public corporation in the United States of America, I was the CEO of the Air Force. The Chief of Staff you might think of as the COO. You would have a staff around you. The Chief of Staff, had a staff of uniformed officers. I had a combination of civil servants and political appointees. And together you can think of them as the corporate staff. And then there were equivalents of what I would call business units. Those were the major commands of the Air Force, focused on either air combat or on space or et cetera, on other themes within the Air Force, the other missions of the Air Force. So my job as the so-called CEO was people. It was focused on talent management. So that's everything from recruiting the right types of people, because military service is not for everybody. And once you get them in the front door, you need to develop them, you need to train them, and ultimately you want to retain the very best of them. It also had to do with equipment and with the equipment of today, but also investing technology for tomorrow's equipment needs. It had to do with our readiness, which is large-scale training, and it's maintaining our equipment, much of which is old these days. So all of these aspects were part of my job as Secretary of the Air Force, or you might think of it as a CEO.
Yeah, that's a great analogy for civilians to understand what it was that you were facing.